Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanas. This is episode 150, season 6. Today's date is July 23rd, 2022. And thank you for joining me today. I can't believe I reached episode 150. Wow. Well, it's a special episode, and I will tell you why. Today, I will talk about my first job ever. And this was at Mr. Steer Steakhouse restaurant. I was 16 years old, and I was a busboy. So I will talk about go into more detail of that and my memories, and talk about the establishment as well. Plus, I have the second part of the show. I will talk about a film series that aired on WTTW Channel 11 in Chicago. It was called The Toy That Grew Up, and it was a film series that showcased silent films. And I will talk about how it got started and what films they showed and my memories of that. But first, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Wondra Lotion. I don't know if people remember that, but I certainly do. Yeah, and there was very heated competition between hand lotions. So here's a commercial from 1977, and when the commercial is over, I will discuss about Wonder Lotion. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Hi, Jane. I wasn't made to be a housewife. This work's ruining my hands.
Relax. New Wondra's here. It's a conditioning lotion.
It's rich, like a cream. But help these hands.
Look at rough, dry skin up close. Wondra rubs right in and takes the day's work right out.
They're soft in seconds.
Without grease problems.
Glass doesn't slip.
New Wondra rubs right in and takes the day's work right out of your hands.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Wondra hand lotion. Let me give you a brief history about this particular product. It was manufactured by Procter and Gamble, introduced in 1977, and I remember the commercials of this product, like the one you just heard. I remember they aired these commercials late at night on WFLD TV channel 32 frequently every night. And during the shows that aired, when this commercial aired, let me start that. I was watching shows late at night. Like, for example, there was Mary Hardman, Mary Hardman. That was a big deal back then. That aired at 10 o'clock. Competed with the news. And then there was the Best of Groucho, there was the Honeymooners, and also Night Gallery. And when this started airing, I was graduating from 8th grade from Correas Elementary School, and then I went to Bogan High School in the fall of 77. And then continued on. The product ran until the mid 1980s, I believe, and then it was yanked. I don't know what happened. There were according to a couple sources, there were some lawsuits involved. I'm not sure. And so there were products similar to Wandra. There was like Vaseline Intensive Care Lotion. There's Jergens. Today we have Alvino and Curel. Yeah, but Wandra remembered this very well. And the stores that supplied them, I remember, like near my old neighborhood in Ashburn, was at Edwards Drugstore. They carried that. Also, Crestline Pharmacy, Walgreens, of course, and Osco Drugs, or any independent drugstore. I remember Little Bucky. I'm going to talk about that someday. Remember that? And so my mother bought this product one time, and I remember it, and she liked it, and I liked it too. But then it was gone. I just hate that. Every time you enjoy a product and you love it, all of a sudden it disappears, and you feel disappointed. Happens all the time. Okay. On today's program, I will talk about what I said previously is my first job at Mr. Steer's Steakhouse restaurant in Chicago. And then I will talk about the film series The Toy That Grew Up that aired on Channel 11 WTTW in Chicago as well. But first, we're going to talk about my first job. Now, technically, that's my second job, but the first job I had was I worked in a grocery store in the back where the butcher was, and my uncle got me a job. He knew the owner of the grocery store. This was at 63rd Street, I think Spalding, west of Kedzie in the Marquette Park area. And I didn't like it at all, but I remember the men that worked there and the younger, they were very nice, but it wasn't for me. So, and then I didn't show up the second day. Nothing happened. So anyway, but actually, the job I had at Mr. Sears Steakhouse, that was my first real job, and I stayed there for a while. And my uncle knew the manager. I don't know if he knew the owner. The owner's name was Spiros Xenos. I think I met him once, and I remember one day he came in with his wife, and she had this long, full-length mink coat. I was like, wow, they look like they came from a Hollywood premiere. But and she had jewelry and that. She's a very pretty lady. To tell you the truth, I don't remember my boss's name. I can't think of it. I should have asked my mother, but she isn't here. But he was a nice man, very elegant, very quiet, pleasant. And I remember there were times that when he was on break, he would smoke a cigarette, but he used a cigarette holder, and he was very classy. And so my uncle talked to the manager, and he said, "Can you get my nephew a job?" And he said, "Yes, as a busboy." Okay. I wasn't too thrilled about it, so I went after school. This was junior year, and it was in 1979. And this is when I came back from Greece in the summer. I missed a disco demolition. I talked about that before. And the location was at 63rd Street in Kedzie. It was a little east of Kedzie, near the Marquette Theater. And it was Gossage Grill. When you mentioned Gossage Grill, people remember that restaurant. They loved that place. It was wonderful. There was one in 79th and Kilpatrick, east of Cicero. And there's a photo of that. And they said it was a good restaurant. Anyway, getting back to Mr. Steakhouse. So I got my first job. And my manager was very patient and showed me what I was supposed to do. I'm supposed to fill in the ice. There was like a section, fill in all the ice. Also bring the salads in, and also, bussing tables. When people were leaving, I pick up their plates, put them in a, like a tub and bring them to the kitchen. When I was in high school, I had a rough time because I was bullied and I had issues and I didn't pay attention. And I was like, I don't want this job. So I was lazy. I didn't focus. And then, I worked there for about almost a year. And then, one day I didn't pay attention, because every time the manager go, you got to fill up the salads, you got to bring the ice. I said, okay. And then all of a sudden there was a rumor going on that I was stealing tips from the waitresses, and that wasn't true at all. I did not. It was a rumor started from some guy that in the back, and he didn't like me very much. So that's probably what happened. And my manager believed him, but I told him, no, I didn't do that. But later on he did. And he says, I know you didn't do that. And so that was cleared up. But then one day, my manager confronted me and says, "You're fired." So he untied my apron, and told me to go home. And he got fed up. In a way, I was hurt and disappointed, but it was a good learning experience, and I learned a valuable lesson. You got to take your job seriously. And I was 16, and I didn't. I was just a kid. And I remember the waitresses were very nice. And at the end of their shifts, they gave me $1 Each of the waitresses gave me $1. I think that's how that's done. I don't know about now because I'm not in the restaurant business. So that was the only time. And then, I was hurt. I came home and I told my parents, and they weren't really mad about that. I said, you know what? That's your first job. Don't worry about it. Of course, the rest of the time in high school, I did not work. So my second job was when I enrolled in Daly College in the fall of 1981. I got a job at Burger King, but my father got it for me. I don't know how this happened. And that was located at Archer Avenue in Spalding, west of Kedzie. And that job lasted a little longer while I was going at school. And then I didn't do well in Daly College, so I wanted to drop out. And then so there was only one school I was interested in, is going to DeVry Institute of Technology. And I told my parents, look, I want to go to this school. I'm not doing well. And they said, okay, go ahead. So I had to enroll full time. That was in March of 1983, and I had to quit the job. So there was no time for me to work. And I told my parents that, and they said, that's fine. Just concentrate on your coursework. Just do that. Okay. So that's good. And then later on got more jobs, blah, blah, blah. But, Mr. Steer's Steakhouse was my very first job, and I haven't forgotten it. But I also got fired. I got for the first time, and that was kind of devastating for a young man like myself doing that. But I'm sure everyone has gone through this. Most of them quit, which is fine, but fired probably once in their lives. Okay. Anyway, the other locations of the Mr. Steer's Steakhouse was on the south side. One was at the address on 63rd Street was 3141. West 63rd Street. The other one was at 4752 South Ashland. Remember that? Also, there was one in the South Chicago neighborhood, and that was at 9146 South Commercial Avenue. I remember that. Right near where Bargain Town used to be, the toy store. And of course, there was one that was most people remembered was on the north side, which was at 4033 North Milwaukee Avenue, right near Six Corners. Everyone is familiar with that, where Milwaukee Avenue and Cicero Avenue and Irving Park meet. And that one lasted a long, long time. The ones on the south side closed. But also, there was one location in Oak Lawn, Illinois, where I live now. That was at 50. Let me get the address real quickly. Yeah, that was 505030 West 95th Street. I don't remember that one at all. Not on that location. It was probably there briefly. The one on Milwaukee Avenue on the north side, I don't know how long. I don't know when it opened, and I don't know when it closed. I have no idea, but it was there for a long time, and probably in the 80s and 90s, around there. And I don't know what happened to the owner, Mr. Spiro Xenos. I don't know if he's still alive or is he dead. I don't know. No idea. I don't know about the manager. He's probably passed away. So so that's a great memory for me. And like I said before, a great learning experience. Okay. All right. So next up, we talk about the film series, The Toy That Grew Up. And I remembered this show when I was growing up. I saw briefly. And it showcased silent films, from the early era. I like silent films. I'm not a huge fan, but I do like them. I haven't seen one in ages, so I'll give you the brief history of this. This premiered on August 22nd, 1962, and it'll be 60 years next month. Which, by the way, yesterday my parents celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary, and I posted a picture of their wedding photo, and people loved it. And thank God my mom is still alive. My dad died in January 4th, 2006, and it's a beautiful picture. And anyway, so the film series, like I said, it premiered on August 22nd, 1962 on WTTW Channel 11. And then it was syndicated and it showed from other markets, other cities. And the theme music they used was called The Curse of the Aching Heart. And the host of the show was Don Ferris. He was an announcer. You might have heard him from Channel 11. He was also on WSNS TV Channel 44. He did the promos of the show and all that all through the 70s. If you remember that, watching that. So right now I'm going to play the introduction of The Toy That Grew Up, and it's with host Don Ferris, and this is from October 27th, 1971. And he talks about the 1925 movie. I think it's 1925. Yeah. The 1925 German movie called Variety. That's a silent picture. And it starred Emil Jannings. So sit back and enjoy. Thank you, everyone.
The Toy That Grew Up. The story of the birth and growth of a fabulous industry. WTTW presents another program in its series featuring the silent film. From its inception as a sideshow, come one, come all curiosity, to its flowering into a mature art. Tonight, one of the most popular German silent films, Variety, starring Emil Jannings. Variety has long been acknowledged as one of the most influential of German films. Together with the film The Last Laugh, it was praised for the use of the camera. Yet it was not the use of the camera alone which sets this film apart. It was again the classic performance of Emil Jannings. So thoroughly German is Jannings that many are surprised to learn that he was born in Brooklyn, New York, July 20th, 1886. While still an infant, he was taken to Germany, which of course explains the thorough lack of Americanization. He first appeared in films in 1915, most of which were not very successful. Then he appeared in a film called Passion with Pola Negri, in which he played Louis XV. When the film was released in the United States, only Pola Negri's name was publicized because she was already being considered as a prospect for films in the United States. But Emil Jannings was not overlooked and began to appear in a group of films that are still remembered today. Among these were Deception, in which he portrayed Henry VIII, Quo Vadis, in which he played Emperor Nero, and The Last Laugh, in which Jannings gives a powerful performance as the doorman at a very fancy hotel who was demoted to the hotel's washroom attendant. We had a chance to view this film in an earlier program in our Toy That Grew Up series. Well, Variety is a film about love and jealousy among variety performers. Jannings plays a trapeze artist who discovers his wife has been deceiving him with another performer. He finds out, and, well, let's see what happens. Here now, with an original musical score by Hal Pearl, is Variety, with Warwick Ward, Kurt Jaron, Leah DePuty, yes, she's in this one, and Emil Jannings.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the introduction of The Toy That Grew Up, hosted by Don Ferris. The clip is courtesy of Fuzzy TV Memories by Rick Klein. Thank you, Rick. And you can find all his videos on YouTube, and they're wonderful. I love it. Okay, for the Toy That Grew Up. This lasted for 10 years. I tried to look up the Chicago Tribune and sources, and I don't know if this series aired in 1972. I think it ended at the end of the year, 1971. I could be wrong, but they aired it on Wednesday nights. I think 10:30 or 8 o'clock. They keep changing the times of that, and it was repeated, of course. And it was shown weekly. Then there were times that didn't show at all. There was like lapse, and so that was strange. And I remember watching I remember this show. I remember watching a couple of shows like that. And I liked it. And And there was a man, he was I think the producer, his name was Robert C. Sipe. And he was a huge fan of silent films. And he acquired the rights of most of a lot of American silent films and some from Europe. And 90% of them came from private collections. So they were, and then which was interesting, like that. And when they presented each film, there was a pipe organ score, and it was performed by his name was Hal Pearl. So when you watch the movie, he played the organ. He did that. So, and then when he did that, so that was kind of fun. The movies they showed on the Toy That Grew Up were classic comedies, silent movies, of course. There was Charlie Chaplin. There was Laurel and Hardy. There was Buster Keaton. I don't know if Harold Lloyd was shown. I'm not sure. Let's see, Max Sennett, probably the Keystone Cops. Let's see, drama. They showed the Hunchback of Notre Dame that starred Lon Chaney. They showed that. They showed horror movies. There was a silent movie, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, that starred John Barrymore. The first one, not Frederick March. That was the second. That was a sound. And what else? Nosferatu. I can't pronounce that. I remember the vampire movie that came out 100 years ago. I've seen that movie. It's scary. A lot of people don't think so, but when you really watch into it and you feel it's the atmosphere. It's just like the 1931 movie Dracula with Bela Lugosi. And they presented horror movies and dramas. Stars like Theda Bara, Rudolph Valentino, in The Chic. I can't think of others. So, and other comedians like Ben Turpin, with his eyes crossed like that. According to some sources, they tried to acquire the rights for The Jazz Singer, and that was the first talkie that came out in 1927. But I don't know if they did that. I don't think so. No. My favorite was Laurel and Hardy. I still love them to this day. I have most of their movies on DVD. Most of the sound ones. The silent ones, I think they are on the DVD, but some have been lost. And I remember, besides The Toy That Grew Up, they Channel 9 and WGN showed a silent movie. They did show silent movies, and also earlier, like Laurel and Hardy, and it was called The Golden Age of Comedy. I remember that, and that was fun. Then around in the 70s, they had Laurel and Hardy broadcast on WFLD Channel 32, and I'm a huge fan. They're still funny to this day. They're wonderful. And the host Don Ferris, I think he's still alive. I think he is. That's me. And Robert Sipe died in 2008. And the organist Hal Pearl died in 2000. So, believe it or not, a lot of people on Facebook and, social media remembered this show very well. And they loved, if they're movie fans, and they loved watching that. They really did, and that's amazing to see that. And let's see what else. So there was a couple articles printed in the Chicago Tribune. They talked about the show as well. Other movies they showed with like westerns. They showed Tom Mix, William S. Hart. They did that. Hoot Gibson, I believe. And they also, I don't know, I've heard someone tell me they showed like some films from John Wayne. I don't know if he did some films. I have no idea. Other horror movies, they showed The Phantom of the Opera with Lon Chaney. They did that. And other comedians, Harry Langdon. Also, that's amazing. It really is. So if you want to watch a silent movie at your convenience, you either go buy them on DVD if you'd like. On Turner Classic Movies, they do show silent movies sometimes. I remember one time they showed them, I think on the weekend, or so, like over like in the middle of the night. They do show that, but I don't know if they do that anymore. But they did that time, and also there was documentaries about that era. You know, today's people today would not watch it really. They wouldn't sit down for a second because they want to hear dialogue and special effects. But silent movies, they speed up. People are running, and and then they show the title subtitles. I don't know. I think that's what it's called. I forgot what it's called like that. And it's not really a lost art. It kind of is, but to me, I love it. It's fun. I love early movies like that. It's fun to go back and look. Of course, I said before, Turner Classic Movies (TCM). They showcase a lot of pre-code movies. It's fascinating to watch that. They were silent. Some had sound. It's fun. Okay, that'll be all for today's show. I talked about my first job at Mr. Steer Steakhouse restaurant in Chicago. Also, I talked about the film series that aired on WTTW Channel 11 called "The Toy That Grew Up," and so I reached 150 episodes. Wonderful, awesome. And so my next show will be 151, of course. That would be episode 151, and that would be season 7. So this is the last show of season 6. I don't know when I'll do it next week, maybe next weekend, because usually I do it on a Tuesday, but something's come up and I got to do something. So, but if it could change, it could change. I could record a show maybe the next day or the following day. We'll see about that. Okay. So this is your host, Pico Stanis, for Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the show. And this podcast will be available later on whatever podcasts are available. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Amazon Music. You can also find it on my YouTube channel, Vanished Chicagoland Stories, if you do a search. Also, I'll post this on my social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter. You can click on that and you can listen if you'd like. I have other episodes. Help yourself. I'm having a ball. Okay. So I'm signing off. Everyone have a great day. Here is Ray Renner saying bye-bye for now with a little traveling music. So take care, everyone. So long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.